Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. First, shout out to Joan J for defending the reputation of not only her people, but by extension, defending the reputation of Passport Bros, and by extension, defending the reputation of SYSBM and the other BMPTs. Today I was at work and the country was celebrating Flag Day today. I don't do secular holidays, and I especially don't do secular holidays that Ay-rabs think up. So I taught the class, and then when classes were done and they started the celebration, I sat this one out and I counseled the student. So in any case, I saw some of the workers that clean everything up, and they're from the Philippines. I'm going to tell you that people from the Philippines have upheld this country in many ways. They've not done much construction work, but they've taken care of other things, a lot of other things. They have upheld healthcare, and more recently, they've upheld healthcare along with Sudanese and Nigerians. Nigeria sends nurses and doctors. Sudan sends doctors, and the Philippines sends nurses. They take care of patients and get things done. Saudis have a reputation for meaning well, but they're still learning medicine. And they also are known for not necessarily showing up. They don't show up to work and not do the job. They're just known for taking vacations or leaving early. But if they're on a job, they'll do what they can. There's another nationality that I'm not going to name that has a reputation for showing up to work but not actually doing a job. I believe it. This nation is what it is, partially due to folks from the Philippines. Let me tell you this. In the end, the sisters want us, black men, and I'm talking largely to you simps and gynocrat goons and matriarchal mandingos. They largely want you to get on their side against Pinay women. Now, if they want to say something about Korean or Chinese women, well, you know, those women probably had a lot of stuff to say about black women before. Now, not a lot, but a little bit. They want to say something about Dominicans. Well, you know, I don't know, honestly. But if they want to say something about, if they got bad stuff to say about Pinay women, that is not okay. For one, this is to you simps and goons again. Pinay women, Filipino women, have never done anything to justify Blackanoia, and Filipino men have not. The Philippines is one society out of a few in that region, like the Malay people in the Malay archipelago, those nations. The Laotians, the Cambodians, to a certain extent the Thai, and only recently have some Vietnamese in the United States also join in on this anti-black bandwagon. But in Southeast Asia in general, they've not been against us. No, they've not. In the Philippines, I'm going to tell you now, in the Philippines, they've not. It is not okay for Boom Chic and Bon Quisha to have some fly stuff to say about the Pinay women. The Pinay women have never been our enemies. They've never come against us. The Pinoy men have never been our enemies. So to you simps and goons and mandingos, I want you to understand that Sapphire wants you to make a new enemy. She wants to make a new enemy for you, actually. There was not an enemy before. Now she wants to make this enemy, the Pinay women are able to defend themselves. Joan J's really led that charge, but others have joined in with her. Only Helga Babushka has done an about face. And I think she's largely by herself in Canada without her husband. I'm also going to tell you that Blackanoia to a certain extent is justified. But sometimes, even when women come from a group that has not been allies to us, when that's happened, there's still something else at play too that I want y'all to know about. Sometimes what's happening, what's going on is that these sapphires want you to jump on the women from these groups because of Sapphire's ego and not because of your dignity. Those are two different things. So even if Sapphire wants you to have some fly stuff to say about Arab women, don't do it. If she wants you to have some fly stuff to say about women from India, Pakistan, don't do it. Because she doesn't want you to say these things. Even when she wants you to say the right thing, she doesn't want you to say it for the right reason. That's not it. She wants you to say certain things, even if they're right, for the wrong reasons, and that's not acceptable. We've had enough enemies, and then we've had people that aren't enemies, but they ain't allies either. The Pinay and the Pinay are not among them. You could say that they've been allies, or you could say that they've been fair and neutral. Either way, depends on what event in history you're discussing, but they have never been enemies to us. And they've never even said that what others are doing to us it was okay. They never even so much as said, well, I can see why Europe did what they did to Africa. They never said anything like that. There's a reason that the Chinese and the Koreans call them the jungle agents and call them monkeys. Now, for one, the Koreans and the Chinese tend to say this to Southeast Asians in general. Even when the Koreans and the Chinese are taking on certain things from our people and copying them, like fried chicken, even when they're doing that, they still look at them as being too black. I, for one, am not about to sit up here and start bashing a group of people that never had anything negative to say about us. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not even going to consider that. The Southeast Asian in general has not been the enemy to our people, in general. Least of all people from the Philippines and Indonesia. So I'm just simply not willing. And you know what? You simps and goons and mandingos, if you decide to go along with Boom Chic and Bonquisha in this matter, you will make enemies for us black men. And this is one time when we're sitting up and saying, no, this is Boom Chica's enemy because she insisted on it. We're not with her in that. We're not making enemies. So don't turn around and screw this up for us. It's not just about sexual access, what you're going to say. It's not just about non-black sexual access, which you're going to say. It's about not having an enemy. I am saying this as a black man married to an East African black woman, and I'm not interested in sticking it in someone else. Unless maybe my wife has a twin somewhere and I don't know about, then my wife will have trouble. Wife be trying to pull me away from a woman that reminds me of her. I'll be pulling her back to that woman. Oh no, we finna have a threesome. No, I'm joking. I don't do threesomes. It's not Islamically allowed, but you get the idea. I'm not interested in someone else. That's what I'm saying. I've seen Filipino women here that were plain, ugly, and gorgeous. I've seen them all. Muslim and non-Muslim, I've seen them all. But I do not wish to become an enemy to them or to their brothers, dads, sons. I'm not interested in that because they ain't enemies. They're just not. It doesn't work that way. If you think that we're supposed to go out there and just fight the whole entire world, congratulations, you're thinking like Hitler. That's how Hitler thought. Just fight everybody, all fronts. He overextended himself. In the name of what? Some idea of a German empire. Because he felt that the Germans had been downtrodden for a long time. They'd been downtrodden most of his adult life, but it had not always been that way. Well, since it had been that way most of his life, that became his view of the world. We're going to set up a Third Reich, and show the world not to mess with Germany no more. I don't blame him for the self-preservation aspect of that, but that he went beyond that. He didn't really look deeply at history himself. He did look at it, but not deeply. Made enemies out of people that weren't. Largely because he let Benito Mussolini gas his head up. That's another story. So because a lot of people around the world are sitting up here taking dumps on black folks because we black out, 4C hair, wide noses, and big lips, you're going to turn around and start dumping on a group of women that never did this. Simply because they're feminine. Just because of that. And because they decided to treat us better than the boom shikas and bonquishas and sophisticated ratchet sapphires on whose behalf you're advocating. And I'm going to say this to the golden sphere too. Because from what I understand, the golden sphere has become a mess. If the golden sphere has become a mess, and it seems to have largely been due to feminism, and separate but adjacent to that, you got this guy, Muslim nonetheless, but, crapping on black men and defending the ratchetry of sisters. Dude named Angry Biracial. Ticking off even the Muslims amongst us in the manosphere. Black manosphere, I mean. Then I want those of you that have ever been in the golden sphere before to understand this. Even for you, sometimes your best bet to have what you're looking for might be in Southeast Asia. You're not going to have a situation that's already been ruined. And what has ruined it? It has not been black men that ruined your ability to meet each other and find each other and make families like yourselves. That's not who ruined it. Wasn't us black men that messed that up for you. Wasn't us. It was the feminist amongst you, the misandrist amongst you. Even if they didn't hate men, they brought in elements of feminism and they said, we're not going to let go of them. We're going to hold on to them. And even when y'all booted them out, the damage was done. I hope that what I've said helps. I wish I had better news, but I don't. But shouts out to Joan J. In the golden sphere, even your best hope was probably going to be the resultant Blasian community. Probably was going to be your best hope. And look who came along and screwed that up. The same hyenas that many of the women in the golden sphere imitated while trying to break away from. That's where this leads you. You're going to turn around. Yeah, you probably already started doing the same thing. What you going to do when the golden men wake up, the ones that are not yet awake? What you going to do when they wake up and they say, you know what? Man, these women ain't trying to build no community. They just want the resources, just like the sisters they left behind. They still want to imitate, though, with the misandry. We owe you, but you'll never owe us no matter what we do. It's our job to build, but it ain't your job to maintain or to reward or nothing like that. What you going to do when these men wake up and say, you know what, screw that. We can find Southeast Asian ladies that love us too. What you going to do when they wake up and go over there? Because they're going to take their resources with them. I've seen some that have awakened, and I'm glad they have. I can't wait until some of the men that I've known in that sphere wake up and say, you know what, if the so-called golden women ain't going to have us, which is fine, but they still want a community. How about we just go ahead and build that community with some women that are willing to have us? Then we have some Blasians. That was the best hope, actually. And right now, gentlemen in the golden sphere, let me tell you right now, it's not the golden women that are saying anything about Southeast Asian women, understand that. But by extension, your chances are going to be affected by these hyenas that the golden women left behind, but still insisted on imitating. I want to tell you what all kind of dusties you are, but still want to turn around and imitate the same women that started off calling you dusties. What you think Empress TV, if I got her name right, what you think she was on? She said it. She probably still is on it. Ain't even hiding it. So these sapphires that want to make enemies out of Southeast Asian women that were never enemies to begin with, coming from nations that were never our enemies from the start and coming out the gate, are going to make enemies even for you. Mess up an opportunity for you. And meanwhile, you're going to have cats like Angry Biracial egging them on. I hope that what I've said benefits even you. And thank you all for listening. As always, black call, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power. Just because Sapphire don't like it. And black patriarchy till extinction of Judgment Day. Thank you for flying again with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb, and keep jetting black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off this mother cuss word. Gender justice forever.